So do we want to progress towards the light or should we avoid the darkness? That's a perennial thing that a lot of people have been asking me about, and therefore I needed to make this point really, really clearly. If you take a nice, beautiful picture and you zoomed into that picture, you'll notice something interesting, especially if it's a digital picture. You keep zooming in until everything becomes a complete blur because the pixels are starting to become more apparent. Right? You're zooming in so far that the meaning behind the picture actually gets completely lost. And unfortunately, a lot of people are doing that because the journey towards being a very so-called successful person means that you must have perfect resolution. But that's not true. Even in the best pictures, when you digitalize them, they are going to have a breakdown in resolution somewhere, to a point where when you're staring at a singular pixel that occupies your entire screen, that is likely to not make any meaning whatsoever, right? So when you zoom into something that's very meaningful, it loses its meaning. Of course, when you zoom out so far that it becomes a pixel, that also is a problem, because then there is also a loss of resolution, there's a loss of meaning. What does this mean for us? Well, think about it this way. Whenever you cognitively place something in your mind and you blow it up out of proportion, you might have not gone as far as you need to. So a negative picture that becomes a little bit bigger becomes more apparent. It's like you bringing letters into focus if you're slightly short-sighted, right? If you end up having the wrong focal length of your vision, of the problems that are there, you're likely to end up zooming only on the bad things. So in an entire painting, you could take a look at, oh, this is a painting of the devil. But actually, if you put it out in context, it might actually be an angel defeating the devil, for example. But you may not have seen that because you were out of context. So what needs to be done, therefore, in order for you to face the light, is to turn and accept your strengths and begin to learn and appreciate what it means to have a challenge. This is a concept that came up, that was developed by a guy called Daniel Hoffman, and he calls it the core quadrants or core qualities. So your core quality is a strength that if you use in the world is going to be extremely valuable. Right? So I speak because it is part of my strengths and I want to celebrate the strength, because at one point of time in my life, it was terrible. I couldn't even speak to save my life. So as time went by, I began to develop it into a strength, and now, guess what? I can speak. Problem is, if I continue to overplay this strength, someone might complain that I talk too much, right? So you gotta understand that when I emphasize something, I end up zooming into it, and then other people lose context and they say, this guy is talking too much. What the hell? And as a result, I may have to learn how to dial down. It's part of emotional intelligence. So, do you zoom in too much into the darkness and you make the dark moments in a very, very pleasant picture become too apparent to a point where you're zooming in only on the darkness, that your entire mental screen is just one black pixel? And you forgot that is one black pixel. There's just one moment in your entire life that is dark. How about noticing that that's part of a much bigger picture where there are different colors, there are lighter colors as well as darker colors, but you can take it to appreciate the entire context. And that, my friends, is what's going to move the needle for you in terms of your own personal transformation. Don't just stare at the black blemish on a white canvas. Appreciate the whiteness of it all, but also appreciate that the imperfections allow you to appreciate the perfections. So, like I say, in order for you to turn and orient yourself to the light, the shadow must be there. And sure enough, some of us end up chasing our shadows instead of using our shadows to reorient ourselves towards the light. So I hope this has been useful. If you found it useful, please click the like button right now. And it'll definitely help us to get our message across and to reach out to more people who are seeking personal mastery and personal transformation from the previous circumstances that they've had into better circumstances. So go click on that subscribe button, share this channel with your friends. We are on board this journey together so that we can improve as people, and hopefully by our example, we can improve humanity.